All right. Hi, everybody. So, my name is Asia Long. I am presenting Ultimate Engagement with Nearpod. So, hopefully, you're in the right place. Looks like we have 17 people on the meeting and about 5 people in the Nearpod. So, please go to join.nearpod.com or access Nearpod through ClassLink, or you can use the link that I am placing in the chat right now to join our lesson. I'd love for everyone to join so that we can go through these resources together and to chat about engagement. I have about 10 people in the lesson right now. So I'll give everyone a few more seconds before I jump in and get started. All right. So like I said, we're doing Ultimate Engagement with Nearpod. So today we're going to be going through a bunch of really engaging activities and things in Nearpod. Before we get started, I would love for you all to take notes. Please look for the note-taking icon on the right-hand side of your screen. This is a great way to get all of the resources when the lesson is finished. So any links that I put in here, any videos, anything that I go through today in the Nearpod, if you click the Notes app, you'll be able to get it to your email, your Google Drive, or your OneDrive. So please take a moment and click that Notes tab so that you get access to those resources. And again, I am Asia. I'm your district customer success manager, which means I work for you. I get you all the resources that you could ever want, any updates. I work with your district leaders to make sure that Nearpod is being implemented and used properly. So if there's anything that you need, any questions, concerns, I'm your person. Today, we're going to be exploring those Nearpod features that enhance student engagement. And we're also going to practice creating Nearpod lessons and activities that you can use in your everyday instruction that are going to skyrocket that engagement in your classroom. And of course, I'm going to answer any questions, concerns that you have during our lesson. We're going to start out with a collaborate board. So current engagement strategies is the theme. I do want to get to know you. So if you can give me your first name and your current position in Anne Arundel County, that'd be great. And then our second column is focused on what are you doing to engage your students during everyday instruction. In case you've not seen a columned collaborate board, if you would like to switch columns, you're going to go over to the share your thoughts and go all the way over to the right. You can click which column you would like to respond to. When you switch columns, there will be a highlighted grid around the one that you are responding to. So please just be mindful when you choose which one. Great. I'm so glad that you're here if you've not used Nearpod in quite a while. So fantastic. Glad to see fourth grade, third grade. I was a third grade teacher. While you're doing this, I'll give you some background about myself. I'm from Maryland. I live in St. Mary's County. I've taught for about, it was like 7 years before I made the transition out of the classroom and working for Nearpod for about 2 years now. I worked in their curriculum department. So I wrote a lot of the content in Nearpod Math. Now I'm a customer success manager. So I work directly with schools and districts in and around Maryland, DC. I also work with Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. I love it. Dry erase boards, turn and talk. Yes, I love that. Palette, discussion boards. We're in a discussion board right now. So you have everything you need right here. Awesome. Fourth grade. I love to see media folks in here. Special ed. Wonderful. I love it. Gestures, acting. I love it all. Yes, hands-on tools. Fantastic. Well, hopefully we'll be able to explore how you can kind of turn some of those things into the Nearpod platform and explore how we can engage students through the Nearpod platform without it being too much of an overload and constantly on computers. I think that's a concern with a lot of people, which is why people are focused on the hands-on in real life things like dry erase boards and things, but we do have a lot of great features in Nearpod that can also help drive that engagement up. I'm going to present a poll to you. So how well do you know Nearpod? Are you an expert? Have you launched a few lessons? Are you brand new and ready to learn? No answer is wrong. I'm looking at it on the student end, but on the teacher end, I can actually see everyone that's in our lesson today and when they respond. So I'll give you all a few moments. There's no wrong answer here. Feel free to be as honest as possible. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Looks like most people have launched a few lessons. I'm seeing most people have answered. So I'm going to go ahead and share our results. For the most part, it looks like over 50%, so almost 60% of us have launched a few lessons. So we're a little familiar. So if there's anything during the lesson today that you need me to stop and review and show you how to do that, please let me know in the chat. I'll be happy to show you. We have about until 1:25. So I will definitely make time for any questions, concerns, or demos that you want me to do. So at Nearpod, we take engagement seriously. When we think of engagement, we think of like students so excited, out of their seats, raising their hands, being engaged, turning and talking. We value all of those things, and we want those things to happen in your classrooms, which is why we try to make our platform as engaging as possible for both teachers and students. We don't just leave teachers out of it. We know you're important too. You have the most important job in the world as far as I'm concerned. And I know that you want your lessons to be engaging not only for you, but for your students. So I've linked a couple of blogs here just to about elevating your student engagement in your classroom and increasing your student engagement. This is actually, the second one's actually a case study about a county and their student engagement journey and some great metrics and things that they've kind of tracked along their journey with Nearpod. I'm going to play a video so you can see student engagement in action with Nearpod. So I'm going to play it and hope that you all can hear it. Here we go. If I can. Come on. There we go.
If you were to ask our students what they think about Nearpod, you would immediately see their faces light up. You just see an engaged learner, an excited learner to not only engage in the content, but collaborate with each other about what they're learning.
It helps me to be a better teacher in regards to the way I present information to my students.
Students who didn't even want to talk, all of a sudden now are talking. They are contributing because there was a equality taking place. Everyone had equal access.
It's just like so interactive, and like kids that like hands-on learning like me, it's so much easier for them.
Our students have the ability not just to be engaged, but to be empowered learners as well.
It takes our classroom instruction to the next level. I'm excited to see what Nearpod is going to do within all of our classrooms and beyond in schools across the country and the world, really. Nearpod's really cool.
So just a quick overview of what that engagement can look like in schools and look like in your classroom, not just for students, but also for teachers. I know when I was in the classroom using Nearpod, it was always such a fun day because I didn't use it every day. But when I did use it, it was always something that my students looked forward to. It was another way to draw them in. So our first thing that we're going to look at is Draw It. I call this an oldie but goodie. It's our original activity, but there's so many possibilities with Draw It. And in case you're not familiar, a Draw It is a prompt that allows students to respond with drawings, text, images. They have highlighters, all kinds of things in a background space. So you as a teacher can upload whatever background you would like for your students. You can also have them draw on a blank canvas like a whiteboard, or we have tons of pre-made Draw Its. During Draw Its, I think what's really cool is on the teacher side, you can view the progress in real time. In my last session, I talked about that real in-time feedback, which I will demonstrate again for you just to show you. You can share student work, you can convert any of your regular slides into a Draw It, and you can add reference media. So you can add videos, you can voice record yourself giving directions, you can put examples, in the reference media to help students along the way when they are responding to a draw it. Students can upload an image, they can draw an image, they can highlight, and they can add text. If you want to create a draw it, it's very simple. You're going to go to the create button in your Nearpod. You're going to choose the activity and then you can select draw it. It is one of our quick start activities because it is super popular. So it is very easy to get to. You can do it in the moment, a quick formative assessment. You can do it as a check-in, along with, adding it into a bigger lesson. But don't underestimate the idea of a quick start activity or just a one-off draw it, just because you could throw it in very quickly. It's very easy to launch. And it is, like, on your end, can be very low stakes. You don't have to take a lot of time, but you can get a lot of really great information back at the same time. On the student end, you're going to actually see this in a second because we're going to go through a draw it so you can see the student and the teacher presentation of a draw it. But this is what a student sees. They're going to see the draw it presented in front of them. They're going to have all their tools at the end, at the bottom of their screen. So they'll have the pencil, the highlighter, the text feature, the picture feature, and the eraser. And then I always include this because I think it's great, especially when students are first learning to use draw. It's kind of like a key of what these different buttons mean in draw, what the tools are. So the pen looks like a pen. It works like a pen. You can draw, you can doodle, you can write. Highlighter works just like a highlighter. You can change the colors, you can change the width. And then there's a text box that allows students to type their answers. You can add pictures from your device, but we also have the Google Safe Search, and then the erasure tool, and then we have a undo and redo and erase all screen button. I am going to let you, so everything that I've picked today is varying levels, so please don't be turned off by that. But also everything that I have picked, it comes from directly from our Nearpod library, so it's already pre-made content. I didn't make any of this. This is already labeled in the Nearpod library, so I just pulled it into my presentation just to demonstrate what already exists in the Nearpod library. So I'm going to actually switch over to teacher mode, and I can see each one of you working. I will demonstrate the feedback portion of what this could look like in a second. But when I think about engagement, I know that students of all ages love to draw. I know that students of all ages love to be able to doodle and show their thinking in whatever way makes sense to them. So when I think of draw it, I just think of all the different possibilities of how students can show their thinking. So you have a math problem. Yes, you can draw. You could use numbers. You could show any kind of strategy that you would want in this situation. I hope that no one's going to mind me picking on them. Kimberly, I hope you don't mind me. Is it okay if I pick you? Great. I'm going to go into your work and I'm looking at you working. You can continue to draw and write on the screen. I can see that in real time. Go ahead and do something. Yeah, see, I can see you working in real time. I can give you feedback in real time. I'm actually going to give you a sticker because you're just working so hard. I love that for you. Wonderful. So Kimberly, thank you so much for working so hard. I could even share that with the class. Thank you, Laura. Laura's doing great. I'm going to give her a great job. Keep going. So not only is this engaging for the student because they're seeing their teacher work in their work at the same time, but I can also share this and show everyone what the student is doing right in the moment to keep them with me, to keep them coming back and then, oh, let me look back at my work. Did I do that? I can unshare it and then we can keep going. I can also, I said this before, but the stickers that are in here will change out as the seasons and holidays come. So you'll be able to give feedback, and I can also remove feedback if I really want to. I can go back and I'll get little pop-ups on my screen that says I gave feedback to that student already. I'm going to actually turn on student pace mode to let you kind of play around with and see the what a draw it could really do and the different possibilities with a draw it. So I'm going to give you a few minutes through I think slide 15. I'm gonna turn it on, and you can see the different possibilities with a draw it. I loved draw it's for math because showing student work, um, it's just another avenue, just another way of showing student work. I gave you a money savings one. This is a financial habit activity I pulled that I thought was really cool. And then I also gave you an exit ticket. So we have tons of exit tickets and uh, note taking pages and things for teachers to pull from that are blank, just to show you what a draw it could do. So again, you don't have to do this in a full lesson. You could do this at the end of a lesson that you're maybe up giving and chatting with your students, and then boom, I'm going to send you a quick, um, 3, 2, 1 exit ticket about what you learned today and any questions that you have. So I'll give you a few minutes to work through the next few pages, the slides of Draw It, so that you can see the different possibilities. Feel free to use the picture inserts. I think you can add in the GIFs and you can use the highlighter tool, use all the tools just to see the different ways that students could use them. I'm going to give you another few seconds before we move on. Make sure you go all the way to the end where you can see the exit ticket example. Again, these all exist in Nearpod already. You don't have to make this. This is just I searched up exit ticket, and this is one that came up, and I liked it, and I added it to my presentation. I'm going to go ahead and turn off our student pace feature, bring us all back together. Just a way to implement draw it. It doesn't have to be high stakes. It can be an icebreaker at the beginning of the year. Diagram for vocabulary, draw and labels, annotating text with the highlighter, matching items, a graph. It could be identifying shapes and patterns, identifying readiness to learn and confidence levels, and then compare and contrast, which we already actually have outlined for that if you would like to use them. And I did link how to build an activity and teach with Draw It, link in there just as a fun little tip for you. Collaborate boards. We've done one of these already, but our Collaborate board is top notch. Interactive discussion board. So while you're doing turn-in talks, it kind of is the same thing, but you know that not all students are going to talk to each other. Not all students are going to talk to you. But when you create a Collaborate board in a kind of a safe space, I think that definitely ups your engagement factor for those students who are reluctant to talk and raise their hand. So it is a student-centered discussion board that allows students to use text, images. There is a record feature. There is a video feature. You don't have to turn that on, but it is an option and a possibility. So we can use Collaborate boards in a bunch of different ways. We have our traditional Collaborate boards, but we also have a columned Collaborate board, which you kind of saw. So you're talking, you can categorize and sort different discussion questions and responses. And then you can even differentiate student needs with the media types. So if you're using, you can use the reference media as PDFs and images to kind of, and web content to kind of reach all students and differentiate, but then also the responses can be differentiated. And then we also have the video, audio, which I've already mentioned. You can organize and sort responses, and then you can comment on responses or not. I'll show you how to do that and change those permissions for students. So to create a Collaborate board, I will show you this because it's just easier just to show you and so you can see it. But while you're editing a lesson, you can add content. You're going to choose a Collaborate board. It usually is in the most popular content, depending on your most popular tab actually changes based on what you like to launch. So for me, it's in the most popular tab because I love a Collaborate board. You can change your style of board if you would like. Doesn't have to be the traditional cork board. We have tons of themes. I showed you, I think I used the Halloween theme at the beginning of the lesson. You're going to enter the topic and then the discussion prompt. Then you can choose if you want a grid or columns. So the grid is like your traditional, every single post is just going to pop up. Columns, you have those columns like how we said we had in the beginning of our lesson. And then you can choose your student options. You can choose to turn student names off if you would like to. You can edit responses. You can choose to approve posts. I suggest this for all grade levels because you just never know what students are going to post. And if you turn that on, basically what will happen is you'll get a pop-up that says approve post, and you'll have to click on it, read the student response very quickly, and then say yes, approve, and it will go to the Collaborate board. So it is a in-between between the student and the board and what's projected to everybody. So you get to decide who gets to post what, and you can send it back to a student and say, oh, try again, not approved, and it'll go back to them, and they will have to enter a different response or not. If you don't want them to answer, you don't have to ever approve their post. And then you can also approve student comments. So as you're going through and students are posting, students can also respond to each other. So it can be interactive depending on the level of trust that you have with your students. And then you can toggle on your media types, images, videos, audio recording, and the GIFs. So you can turn them off or on depending on what you want to offer. So of course, we're going to do a Collaborate board. So right now, all of my things are off. So everything is open right now. And you guys are going to be able to look at the reference media, which I've just clicked on. But we're going to talk about game show favorites. Post your responses to the questions in the columns and share your answer with an image, GIF. So I want you to try something other than just typing at some point. You can do audio recording. I want you to like somebody's post and comment on somebody's post. So what's your favorite game show and why? I love it. Your dream game show prize, and then who's your favorite game show host? I have mine, but I actually have Ty. Not really. I'm a Price is Right girl. I've been a Price is Right girly since a mere age of 3 or 4 years old, watching Price is Right with my grandmother. I watch Price is Right at night. Even now, she'll text me. She texted me last night and said, Price is Right comes on at 9 o'clock, and we watch Price is Right together. Yes, I love Steve Harvey as the host of Family Feud. He's fantastic. Yes, money. I personally have always wanted, I don't want the car from Price is Right. I want that license plate that says you're the winner. That is my dream prize. Yes, Bob, of course. A vacation cruise. Okay. The Weakest Link was a fun show when it was on. I don't think it's still on anymore. Did anybody ever watch like Supermarket Sweep? That was a fun one. Go ahead and respond to somebody else if you can. I see some people have liked posts. Some people have made comments. Try out all the features if you can. If you feel brave enough to do a voice recording, go for it. I'll see if I can find one in here. I love that. Alex Trebek. Yes. Me and my husband we used to watch Jeopardy pretty much every night, and we would keep score. I would win, of course, often. I'm not saying we got everything, but Double Dare. Oh my goodness. You used to watch Nickelodeon? Name That Tune is hard. That's a hard game. Awesome. Wonderful. So I want you to think about how how students could respond to this, how students could use this, those reluctant kiddos that don't want to raise their hand, that don't want to turn and talk all the time, those students who you might not get a lot out of. Having this a safe space. Right now, all of your names are on, but turning off all the names and kind of letting it be a safe space to respond and answer, and you can shout them out. You, of course, on your end can see all the names and who responds, but what's projected to students is something else. So um, yes, awesome. You guys are such good sports. I love it. Wonderful. Implementation of a collaborate board, using at the beginning to pre-assess, to check in with students, brainstorming ideas, and then just generally fostering that student voice in the classroom, sparking a discussion, crowdsourcing ideas, coming up with, so it doesn't just have to be students. If you're leading a PLC, if you're leading a staff meeting, great place to throw ideas in. And you as a teacher will get a report. So you will actually be able to see what students write and go back to that later on once it's done. So great place to stash ideas and to do self-assessments and reflect and assess knowledge and student learning. I'm going to switch my screen so I can show you guys both the Draw It and the Collaborate board and how you would create those, where to find those, how to get that pre-made content. I'm going to stop sharing and then share again. Give me 1 second. So I am in my personal Nearpod account. So I'm going to start with Draw It. So if I want to create a Draw It, I go to Create. You can choose go to Lesson, but I'm going to go down to Activity. I want to just do this on its own. Choose Activity, and what comes up? A Draw It. I clicked it, and it's going to take me here. This is a blank canvas right now. You can upload your own background right now, but I'm going to suggest going over to the side. So sometimes it might look like this. You just have to click this arrow that's all the way on the right, and you can search all of our pre-made content for Draw It. So I want 5th grade math, and I'm going to select Apply, and it's going to give me all of the content that's already made for 5th grade math content. So I want scatter plots. And here's the Draw It with directions and everything already ready to go for me to launch for students. It's done. If you don't like it, you can change it. You can edit the directions. Now, the background is a little bit harder to change when it's pre-made content, but there is a way, there's workarounds. You can edit, you can put text boxes over things if you don't like it, but that is there for you. Questions about any of that? If you have questions at all, please put them in the chat. Good? Awesome. Wonderful. I'm going to add a Collaborate board to this as well. So I'm going to do Add New. And I'm going to, so if I click Most Popular, that's why I told you, like, all of your most popular things that you like will be there. For me, Collaborate board is there. I'm going to click a Collaborate board, and I'm going to click Add. And it's going to prompt me to create my Collaborate board. I can choose grid, columns, looks like this. All of my student options, I can turn on or off. All my media types, I can turn on and off. I can also choose my theme over here. Maybe I want the galaxy theme or celebration theme. I don't know. And I can change my columns. I can put my descriptions and my directions. I can add my voice to directions if I would like. I can add a video, web content. I can do an image if I have an example, and then that is saved. I'm just going to click save, and it's going to show up here in my my Nearpod library. Questions about that before I switch back and we get into my 2 other engagement activities? Awesome. Wonderful. You guys are an easy crowd. I don't have to, you guys aren't asking the questions at all. It's great. All right. We're gonna jump into two very popular engagement activities. Interactive video is next. You have the ability to make any video in Nearpod interactive. So this allows you to take a video and, which is usually a passive activity, watch a video. I love that it's your favorite. You take it a passive activity like watching a video and make it an active activity, because you can add in your choice of multiple choice questions or open-ended questions throughout a video. All of our videos in Nearpod that are Nearpod originals already have our questions embedded in them for you that you can edit. But any video that you upload from YouTube or wherever, you can make interactive by adding your own questions as well. So great for active learning opportunities, assessment opportunities, small group, whole group, and teaching engagement. This is a quick slide about how to make interactive videos. It can get a little complicated depending on what you like, because there's a lot of features in there, but I'm going to take you through it. But I did want to leave the directions with you just so you can come back to later. But I'm going to take you through it because it's much easier just to see and visualize than for me to read you a slide. But before that, we are going to go through and play in an interactive video. So I chose this video. It is a Nearpod original. It already had the questions embedded in it. So I didn't have to do any of the work. I just chose it and plugged it into my presentation. Here we go.
Today we're going to talk about similes and metaphors in just a minute.
Okay. So this is a pre-assessment question. Similes and metaphors both do what? So you can pre-assess students before the video starts to see where they are. As a teacher, I'm looking at the teacher end, so I'm kind of seeing where my students are before I even get into the video itself. So I'm seeing that most people are picking A, some people are picking B. Overwhelming majority, it looks like both similes and metaphors are saying they make comparisons. Awesome. I could share the solution with you all. And the correct answer is A. I have the breakdown percentage. I will get that in my post-session reports later to see, how students have learned through the lesson or through this specific video.
Just a minute.
Most of the time, when we're talking or writing, we use literal language, words used exactly how they're defined. But how do you add excitement to a speech or conjure a vivid image in the mind of a reader? Figurative language is one way of doing this. With figurative language, the words express something other than their literal meaning. Okay, so now imagine you spent your whole weekend watching TV, and on Monday, when your friends ask you at school, what'd you do this weekend? You might say, nothing. But obviously you didn't do nothing. You binged an entire series, but you used this figure of speech to convey that you lounged around on a sofa for 2 days. Similes and metaphors are both figures of speech. A simile uses the words like or as to specify how two things are similar. For example, if you were embarrassed, you might say, my face turned red as an apple. This is an example of a simile since the word as compares your face to the color of an apple. Metaphors are slightly different. Instead of using like or as, a metaphor makes the comparison directly. If you're feeling tired after running around, you might say, my legs are rubber! But without like or as, we can be sure this is a metaphor. Why do you think authors use similes and metaphors in their work?
So our second question is an open-ended question. So I'm expecting students to respond with their own personal answer. So it's not a multiple choice. So I can see what my participation scores are. I can share out what students are thinking. Right now I've got 10% participation. So I'm gonna wait a little bit. Obviously, as a teacher, I don't need to show this, but to my actual students, but because you all are teachers, I want you to see what your experience would be like as well. So you can see answers as they're coming in, and then you can even have conversation around these questions Alexandria, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but I'm going to pick on you to share your answer with the class because I love what she said here. And then we can proceed to have a conversation around what Alexandria is talking about with the rest of the class or not. And then I can share multiple students. And again, this is a way to engage those students who aren't going to raise their hand and tell you what they think, but they've written down their answer, they've responded to you, and now you have their thinking up on the screen and kind of showcasing what those voices that you don't normally hear.
Since the word as
Right.
compares your face to the color of the flower. I'm sorry.
So again, that video is just a slight video that we have. I just searched up figures of speech and this video popped up and I said, oh, it has 2 questions in it. Great. And I just added it. I will show you how to trim and change this to make it your own. After we do virtual reality, my last piece and ultimate engagement is our virtual reality feature. I adore our virtual reality section because there's so much to offer here, not just going on field trips. So our virtual reality, our VR field trips and field trip section is going to take students around the world to experience, that authentic real world learning. So you're making connections. They're seeing places that maybe they've never seen or might not have the opportunity to see, visiting historical events, and generally boosting and sparking that curiosity that they may have around a certain place, a certain person, or a certain activity or thing that happened in the real world. Just talking to myself. Yes, yes. You don't have to say eyes up front. Yeah, exactly. So finding virtual reality, we have a whole section on VR. You're going to go to featured content when you go into the Nearpod library. At the very bottom is the Nearpod VR section, and you're going to come to 4 different sections of VR. We have our college tours that is labeled for 6 to 12 because it's just that. They're college tours for colleges all around the world. So your guidance counselors, media specialists, really anybody who's teaching those upper grades. And we're talking about college and career readiness. We're talking about college visits. Some students might not have the money to jump on a plane to fly across country to go visit every college that's on their list. This is a great opportunity for them to see what the campus looks like, to see what the buildings look like, to get a feel of that. No, it's not the real thing. I mean, it is the real thing because we're partnered with these colleges, but you're not stepping foot on the campus, but you can see what your surroundings look like. And that counts for a lot, especially when you're in those early grades and they're not really thinking about college. It makes it a little bit more real to them. Like, hey, this is something that's coming in a few years. Let's make it real life and concrete. Then we have the explorations. So our explorations are like our critical thinking VR. So the students are exploring, making real world connections, kind of going on, just diving deeper into a lot of topics. And we're gonna dive deep, don't worry. And then we have field trips. So students are visiting specific places or historical events around the world. And then Ignite, I think of that as like our extension piece. So think either introducing a topic or extending a topic. So it's a little bit different from exploration as it's a little bit more high level in a lot of ways, but really great for like a whole group lesson and kind of introducing a topic. So what I've done is I've linked 4 different lessons from the 4 VR sections that we have. These are student-paced lessons. So what you're going to see is an unedited version of what you would get when you jump into the lesson as a teacher. So I didn't take out any of the teacher slides or the prep that comes with it. You're going to see the whole thing. So a lot of these are full lessons. So you're going to click through. You can choose any of them, multiple versions of them. I chose a college tour, an exploration, a field trip, and an Ignite section of VR. So I want to give you some time to go through. I'm going to give you like 5-ish minutes to go through and check out our different VR lessons. Feel free to drop your questions in the comments, questions or comments in the comment section. So. Did anybody see anything that they like? Anything that you were interested in? You can unmute or you can put it in the chat, either one. Hopefully you got a chance to explore multiple. Yes, love the college tour. There's so many of them. I was waiting for somebody to say something about the multiplication one. The multiplication one is so cool because of the real world connection of going into the store and the fruit stand and seeing, multiplication in real life, making it concrete. Yes, great for practicing arrays. Awesome. I'm so glad that you guys liked it. Great. So I'm going to take you back into my Nearpod. I'm going to show you exactly how to access the videos and how to find the VR tour. So for videos, when you go to create and you click video, it's going to take you to our entire video library, but you also have the opportunity to go to YouTube if you have videos already uploaded that you like, or you can upload your own video from your specific computer. So I will choose this jury duty video. Great. The blue dots that exist already are the questions. So say I really, I've watched this video and I really want to add another question. I can click where I want to add a video on the line, add activity, and it's going to prompt me to choose open-ended or multiple choice question. I can type it in, type in my answers, choose the correct answer, and then I'm going to press save, and that question pops up in my video. And this goes for all videos that you upload. So if you pull a video in from YouTube, you can do the same exact thing. We also have a trim button. So maybe your video isn't, you only want a certain part of it, and I'm going to make it shorter. I only need it to be a minute long. I can trim that video and make it shorter. And then I can save it and it's done. I can project it to my students, or it is right now it's back in my my library. I can choose to do live participation, student paced, or I can do front of class, which is a great option. If you don't want students on their computers at all, you can do front of class, project it. The questions will still pop up, but then you can have a class discussion about those things, or even go have them go to their computers and answer the question and then come back to you. So that is up to you. That's video. And then our field trips. So I'm going to click into our Nearpod library, featured content. It's the first tab. It's going to always land on featured content. And then you have your VR at the very bottom. And then that's where it's going to take you to these 4 sections. So our college tours are pretty extensive. We have quite a few on here from all over the world. So not just the United States, but if students are thinking about going to Australia or Scotland or England, we have those colleges here for them to look at. Our explorations are also in there. So we have a wide variety. We even have ones that are focused on like things like self-determination. Might not be something that you think you can connect with VR, but there's a lot of really cool activities in that one that talk about like, you know, climbing Mount Everest and what self-determination looks like, and seeing that in real life is really cool. The next one are field trips. So again, you're visiting landmarks, historical events, different places around the world. So again, historical events like D-Day, historical events, Magna Carta. You can visit Capitol Hill, visit the Statue of Liberty, places around the world that, you know, we've all heard about. We can visit Stonehenge if we really want to. And then that Ignite section, that kind of extension piece or introduction piece, there's some really cool things in here. Working with negative, some like those higher level concepts that I think teachers and students would find engaging in themselves. And I know as a student, I wish there was some really cool thing like this. Instead of reading about the Statue of Liberty, I could like look at a video and visit and kind of search around and answer questions that way. I think that would have been really, really cool. So I'm going to give you until 1:20-ish, so 2 minutes to play around with the interactive video and with our VR. I would encourage you either to find a video that you really think you could use and save and edit, or find a VR experience that you could use in your classroom that could be really great for your students or something that you teach. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we'll pull back together. I'm going to end on the always engaging time to climb, and then any questions that you all have. So I'll give you a few minutes. Yes, there is immediate feedback for multiple choice in video. So that's what that when I showed, I think the first question we did was a multiple choice, and it looks like a pie chart. You can change that too. If you don't want a pie chart, I think it changes into a bar graph for you if you want to change how that looks for you on the teacher end. But you do get in time, like real time insight when students answer. I think you're muted. Are you talking to me? I don't know. I see you moving your.
Oh, sorry, I hit the button on my
No, it's
headset.
okay.
There we go. I'm for the student. Does the student see that they got the question correct or not if it's a multiple choice in the video?
No, not until you decide to share that or not. So you as a
Okay.
teacher can decide if you want to share what the actual answers were or not. So I could think of a couple of different reasons why you might want to do that, just depending on like if you just want it to be so you see where students are and you don't want them to know if they got it wrong or right going into the lesson. That could be one thing, but you have a choice. I think I did show you all. I clicked the button to show you the answer on my screen where it showed like what was wrong and what was right. You can choose to show it or not.
I was thinking more for if you wanted it to be self-paced, if they were in
Oh,
self-paced and moving through a lesson, they can gauge their understanding as they're moving through the lesson.
that would make perfect sense. I don't know. I'm not
That's
100%
okay.
sure, but I can check to
And
see if
I can
that's
test it out too. I was just
yeah.
playing around. So thank you.
Yeah, that could be a setting. I'm not sure because I know when you do student paced, there is a no skip option. So students have to watch the video, answer the question, continue to watch the video, answer the question. You can't skip over stuff if you are doing student pace. So there could be something that you hit to see if they can get the answer right away. But,
Cool. Thanks.
yep. All right. I need you all's help. So we're gonna end on a time to climb, and I decided. So usually when I do these, I choose like I make a specific time to climb or whatever. But for this one, I just wanted to choose a time to climb that was already in our Nearpod library. So you guys have a choice. Do you want to do a time to climb on U.S. capitals and states, or do you want to do a Halloween trivia one? You can put in the chat which one you prefer. Um, Either one is fine with me. There will be a prize. Yes, Halloween. Okay. I love that. That was easy. Great. So, since we're doing a Halloween trivia time to climb, we're going to do the Halloween theme, and you all can choose your avatars. The state one, both of these were created in Nearpod. They were already made. The state one, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's kind of difficult. They use reference media a lot in that one. And so it's just the blank state with the outline of the states around it. And you've got to identify the state and the capital and the time to climb. And there's a series of them. So it's different parts of the country. So you would have to be really, really great at identifying states with partial maps. So, but we'll do the Halloween trivia one, and then whoever is my top three, I have something special for you that I will get to you probably in the next week once I make my way up you guys' way. So there are 16 people in, 24 people in the lesson. I'll give you a few more minutes. Not a few more minutes, a few more seconds because we're winding up on time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. There's an eval and attendance in the chat, so please make sure you do that. I'm going to start the game. I think we have about and true or false. Halloween is celebrated in many countries. And if everyone answers, it will go to the next question. If not, the whole time will run. Answer is false. When immigrants came to the United States, they brought their Halloween traditions and belief with them. Which countries did these traditions in? This actually might be harder than I thought. But... Correct answer was B. And 2,000 years ago, the Celts lived in England. They celebrate the end of their harvest. Here, end of October, the celebration is called what? The answer was C. So, interesting thing about time to climb. Yes, so it's actually based on accuracy and speed each well. I never tell students that, but I also never show this screen to students when I've done it with students. So yes, speed and accuracy. Now there is an accuracy score in specific sports. So it's about accuracy and one of the kind of you also. All right. This I'm gonna there's 10 questions altogether. This is question 5. It looks like Alicia, Hope, and Kimberly are our top 3. I don't want to hold you guys up any longer. So Alicia, Hope, and Kimberly, if you put your info in the chat, I will get you your prizes and contact you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I want to put your email and your name in the chat, Alicia. Awesome. I'm gonna skip forward. Just to say thank you so much. I've linked a few resources. Camp Engage is coming up with in November, November 10th and 11th, and I've linked a few things about our interactive video, virtual reality, and of course your support pages. So please, please, please reach out if you need anything. My email is also there. Thank you all so much for joining today. I really appreciate it. I am always around if you need any help at all. Thanks again. It's 1:27. I'm so sorry I went over. You're welcome.